Chana masala is a classic dish from the Punjabi region of India. Rich in spices with no meat, no dairy, and fairly hot, it is the opposite of traditional Swiss food. However, in this age of globalization, ethnic foods are becoming increasingly well known in every corner of the planet. But such recipes are invariably a version of the original dish that's tailored to suit local tastes. This is a perfect example of that. It is nearly authentic, but the changes that were made have given it a remarkable Swiss feel, something you have to taste to experience. Who would have thought that an Indian dish could be at home next to a pot of cheese fondue?
As usual, we'll begin by getting our ingredients together. I've got the sliced onions, green chili, garlic, ginger. I'm using this tamarind paste. There's various different ways you can get tamarind. This is very convenient because you can just, it's already in paste form. You just spoon out how much you need. You don't have to screw with the seeds and heating it up in hot water and everything. But if you got to get with what you can get. Can of garbanzo beans or chickpeas. These are Italian ones. Some clarified butter and posada, or strained and pureed tomatoes. This is tomato paste. We call it tomato sauce in a restaurant. Most people think of tomato sauce as something else. This is just tomatoes. That's all it is. It's just strained and pureed Italian tomato. And the other main ingredient here is the chicken stock, and I've got this heating in the pan. I'm going to add a generous teaspoon of this sticky tamarind paste to it, and while it's hot, we'll whisk this together. Once this is incorporated, then you can just turn the heat off and set it to the side. We'll be using it in a few minutes, but this is just an advanced preparation for the rest of it. Yeah, another pan. Going to begin heating this clarified butter or ghee. Add cumin seeds to this, about half a teaspoon. I'm going to cook these for just maybe 45 seconds, something like that, just to get them slightly dark. Okay, this is fine. Add the onion in. I've got the heat on 6 out of 1 to 10. I'm going to cook these onions until they start to soften. As you'll see, it should take about 8 minutes, approximately 8 minutes to cook these onions. You don't have to stir them constantly, but stir them around once in a while. Break up the rings, like you see me doing. Okay, let them cook. Okay, when you see a substantial amount of browning on the onions, you're ready to add. This is the green chili, the garlic, and the ginger. We're only going to cook this for about maybe 30 seconds before we add the next thing here. Just to get it fragrant. That's good. Now, yes, the anathema of Indian cuisine, actually using curry powder, a rare moment here, but this is not an Indian recipe. It's a Swiss recipe for Indian food, so it's not exactly the same thing, but it's really good. Okay, after about 20 seconds like this, now I'm going to add, we got that chicken paste, chicken stock, and tamarind. I'm only adding about 2 ounces, about 60 milliliters only of that right now. Now we're going to cook this down until most of the liquid is evaporated. It's going to take just a couple minutes here. Okay, after a couple of minutes, most of the liquid's evaporated. Now I'm going to lower the heat down from 6 to 4, and I'm going to add this posada, the tomato puree, in here. Now this is the most delicate part of this entire operation. You can't go fast on this. I've lowered the heat down. Don't try to rush this. This will take a while. You want this very thick. You want to build a very concentrated and rich masala. And It will take time. Stir it, let it go. Now I've got the chickpeas that were washed and drained. Now in India, they usually do not do this. They use these whole. And you can do that, but this isn't the Indian recipe. It's a version of it. So we're going to actually take a knife and go through here and chop these up coarsely. In the meantime, our masala continues to cook away. It's still on a heat of 4 out of 1 to 10. This is not done. It needs to be more concentrated than this. Okay, finally, it's going to kind of get together in a ball like this, where there's very, very, very little liquid left. The next step after this, it's going to actually start burning. So you have to be careful not to go past that point. But this is fine now. Now I'm going to add that chicken stock and tamarind solution. I'm going to add about half of what's left in the pan. Okay. Keep it at a simmer. I'm going to turn the heat down to 3 now. From 1 to 10, it's on 3. Simmer with a lid for about 15 minutes. And just because it has a lid on it during this time doesn't mean you don't stir it. Take the lid off every once in a while. Give it a stir. Make sure it's not sticking and burning. And when the time is finally up, you'll notice the texture and the nature of this has changed. It's gotten a little bit darker and more intense during this cooking time. Now we're going to add the rest of this chicken stock and tamarind to it. Also, that half teaspoon of garam masala and about a quarter of a teaspoon of cayenne. You can add more if you want it really hot, and some salt, about maybe a teaspoon of salt. We'll adjust the salt level a little bit later when we're close to the end, but we know it's going to need at least a teaspoon here. Stir this together. Then add those coarsely chopped chickpeas. Now we cook it without a lid, and we're going to need to add some more water to this as it cooks. It's very, very thick right now. This is too thick. A little bit at a time, just so that it has enough liquid here to cook. The heat's been on 3. I'm going to increase it to 4. Just slight increase here. And we're going to begin the time again. We need to cook this for about 8 or 9 minutes before, and then we're going to add the chopped cilantro to it. And this is the level of cooking, simmering we want to see. Adjust the heat on your stove so that it looks something like this, you know. And don't let it dry out. You can keep adding a little bit more water as it's cooking. When it gets close to the end of the cooking time, then we'll stop adding water and we'll let it thicken up that way. But while it's still cooking, we want to keep it pretty moist. When it's been about 9 minutes since you added the chickpeas to this, now I'm going to add chopped cilantro, about 1-2 tablespoons. Now this is optional. I'm going to add a pinch of dried fenugreek leaves to this. This is not part of the Swiss recipe. It's a very good touch, though. It'll make it taste more professional, more authentic. But you don't have to do that. I realize they're hard to get outside of India and specialty stores, but it's a nice touch. So it's going to cook about another 9 minutes here. And again, the same rule for a while here. We're going to add a little bit more water. Keep it moist while it's cooking. That might be the last water that I add to this, because we want to end up with it being quite dry, and we've only got about 9 minutes of cooking time left. So you just have to kind of time it out. Watch it, see how dry is it getting. Don't let it burn and stick to the bottom. Don't let it get so dry that it actually starts burning. But you want it to be fairly dry. This is supposed to be a dry curry or dry masala. And at the end of the time, this is what you want to end up with. It's quite dry, as you can see. There's no liquid rushing back in to fill it. Now I'm going to add a little bit more cilantro and a little squeeze of lime juice in here, just to liven it up. And that's it. Now we're ready to plate it up.
Also look for my cocktail book, Cocktails of the South Pacific and Beyond, Advanced Mixology, available through Amazon online.